underway. You can kill my mind for slow, hold me till I scream forever. And wash me over until my will runs dry. Send all your sins all over me, baby, baby.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing? How y'all feeling? I hope all is well with you. I'm back with another video. I told y'all we were going to finish through with this young lady's story, and that's what we're going to do. But before we get into it, please make sure your thumbs are lit. Make sure you are subscribed, and make sure to push that notification bell so you're notified whenever I drop a video, because you got to get the full stories. So you won't know unless you hit that notification bell. So we gonna get back into the young lady who did 32 days in prison and did not do the crime. So without further ado, we are gonna bring her back to the stage. I don't know what it is about her. I can honestly listen to her do a story time all day long. But I'm gonna go ahead and bring her to the stage so she could continue to tell us what happened. What transpired? Alrighty. Let's go.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. So do y'all know why we are here? And this live today, I'm going to be telling y'all the remaining parts of how I spent 32 days in jail for a crime I did not commit, okay? Now, a lot of you all may already know, I started Good evening, good evening, good evening. So do y'all know why we are here? And this live today, I'm going to be telling y'all the remaining parts of how I spent 32 days in jail for a crime I did not commit, okay? Now, a lot of you all may already know, I started parts like 1 through, I think I got up to 6. Kids running, people running, chaos, it's pandemonium. Y'all can about imagine. Okay. I see thief over there in the distance in the middle of the field. Again, everybody outside by now because it's Good evening, good evening, good evening. So do y'all know why we are here? And this live today, I'm going to be telling y'all the remaining parts of how I spent 32 days in jail for a crime I did not commit, okay? Now, a lot of you all may already know, I started parts like 1 through, I think I got up to 6. Kids running, people running, chaos, it's pandemonium. Y'all can about imagine. Okay. I see thief over there in the distance in the middle of the field. Again, everybody outside by now because it's commotion. So you got all the neighbors near and far coming. I see thief over there in the distance, right there in the middle of the field. Guess what thief's doing? Guess what he's saying? Guess what he's saying? Man, your sister not shot me. Dripping. Arm up like that, dripping, leaking. Man, your sister not That's what you get, you thief. Because I'm sure that's the same hand you used to break in our window in our house. I'm sure that's the same hand you used to steal our stuff. I'm sure that's the same hand you use. That's what you get. God don't like ugly. And that went in for you. But I was talking about good shit. Man, your sister been go to your sister finna go to jail. I said, I ain't even say nothing now. I was just looking. Because it was so much going on. There was so much going on. So, at this point in time, Leo takes off, go with your way she go. Of course, we get the kids in the house. And of course, 911 being called. Nobody on our end is hurt, right? As far as we can see. But, we still call because it's been a firing. So, this part I take a deep breath. So this next phase, I'm finna tell y'all, I really gotta, cause man, it's so draining. Like, it's so draining. Like, everything that could have been like the worst was truly turned to the worst. And you would have thought, y'all would think that was the worst. Whew. So that night, all hell breaks loose. Okay. Yeah, he got hit too. You got hit too. And yeah, he was part of the reason. Because he called it, you got this and that, that's how he gossiping and back forth. You're stealing, breaking the phone, you doing it. Yeah. So, I'm gonna be brief on moving forward because I got to get to the nitty gritty of things. So, the next week or two after the shooting, it's quiet out there. It's gossiping. Oh, her sister did this to this. But not one time did the cops come talk to us. Not one time. Not that night when it happened. They didn't come talk to us. I got contacted. I can only tell you mine. I can't talk for my mom. I can't talk for my sisters and nobody. I'm only telling y'all when I got contacted. I got contacted about this probably a week after it happened. I was at work. I got a call from a detective. They asked me my name and everything like that. And they said that, hey, asked me did I have anything to kind of really say about the incident that happened. Basically wanted to hear my version of what happened. I told them what happened, And I never forget, after talking to the man, I can't remember how long it was I was on the phone with that detective, but I remember him telling me, he said, okay, if I have any more questions, I will give you a call, is what he told me. That's all. Okay, I had learned from my mom and my sister and them that
It's crazy that they waited that long before they even reached out to them to ask their side of the story. It's given all this time has passed, y'all made up your mind already. I don't know if they were looking for a confession or, you know what I'm saying? Like, either way, their mind, in my opinion, was already made up. And why would you go that long? Because people's memory lapse and, all of that stuff. Why didn't you get it while it was fresh? Cops are failing.
That he had reached out to them as well. Keep in mind, Leo left that night. This is important. I need for y'all to stay focused. If y'all need to go get some Red Bull or something to wake up, get up. I'm in here with y'all. It's 9:50. My bedtime is 8:30. I'm in the trenches with y'all. So I need for y'all to stay focused. Get up. Stay focused, okay? Leo left that night. So I never told y'all. Leo got caught. I never said that. I told y'all when I looked up after Leo had cleared the scene, because that's what she did, she had left. I won't say who took her to leave. I won't say none of that. But she left. Fast forward, like I told y'all, a week or so later, the detective reached out to me, asked me my side of the story. I tell him, that was it. He said if he had any more questions, he would give me a call. Okay. Remember I told y'all, Sister from Hell got hit. Sister from Hell got hit twice. Now, one place I'm not gonna name what Sister Hell got hit at. Sister from Hell got hit at. And I won't, just for the sensitivity of it all, right? Even though I know y'all probably like, well, shit, when When you dig for dirt, you find it. Don't bring a knife to a gun. I get it. But one place was sister friend. And if y'all said in the comments, I'll kind of, it did. Jewel on it. It did. But that was one of the places she got hit at. Okay.
So I wasn't in the live. Obviously, this happened end of last year. So it doesn't show the live chat, but people were guessing the stomach because remember one of the things she was saying, I guess, was that she was pregnant. And I'm like, it's either that or the head. Like it was either her head or her stomach. She doesn't say it, but people were guessing in the comments and stuff like that. And she just confirmed that somebody was right. But again, they don't show the live chat. So I don't know if that's for certain, if it is the stomach or what.
Again, like I said, I won't say it, but if y'all said in the comments, yes. Yeah. She got hit right there, and she got hit in the thigh. Okay? So, of course, finding that out, that really made me sad. It did. I'm not going to, even in the midst of all of that, that made me sad. And the thief in the hand, out the forearm, if I'm not mistaken.
Ain't that karma?
Yeah, in the hand, out the forearm.
Now, mind you, again, we always talk about karma spinning the block. He's known for thieving. They know that it was him, or they believe that it was him that stole all the stuff about their house. And when he gets blasted, it's in his hand of all places. You can't tell me that ain't karma, because you done touch way too many people's stuff that didn't belong to you, putting your hands on people's stuff, and now your hand is inoperable. Like, that is karma for you. I was here for it. That's what you get. That's why you don't touch people's stuff. It ain't yours. Don't touch it.
So we finding out these details as to, how everything kind of, who got what and what. Neighbor from hell, she not quiet down now. But she not quiet down. Little did we know she was quiet for a reason, because she was over there working overtime. So I get a call from the detective again, and he say, I might need for you to come to the station tomorrow. He said, I got a few more questions. No problem. He said, but I'll call and let you know, is what he told me. Cool. The next day, I'm at work. I get a call from the next door neighbor, the one to the left, who I told y'all we was cool with. She say, Nene, they locking your mama and your sister up. I say, who? She said, yes. She said, the police just came here and they locking your mama and your sister up. She said, can you get out of work to come and get these children? I told her, yeah, I can. So, if I would have listened to my right mind told me to go see about my mom and my sister. That's truly what my right mind did. But my other mind told me to go and get them children, which is what, But I knew at the time my 16-year-old brother was there, 15-year-old little brother, and 14-year-old little sister. And then smaller shit. So Dre was 2. No. Yeah, Dre was 2 about to turn 3. Nuna was 3 about to turn 4. So instead of me going straight home to get them, I go to the police station. They got my mama. They got Sagittarius. I gotta go see about them. Well, when I got down there, this was the police station in Vine City. I parked my car, I go in the inside, tell them my name. I said, I got a mama and a sister down here. They tell me to wait. Okay, I'm waiting up front for about 30 minutes. Nobody come and talk to me. I don't see my mama, I don't see my sister, but I know they are here. Man come out, he said, hey, what's your name? No, he said, hey, how can I help you? I said, you got my mama here, you got my sister here. Is what I told him. He say, what's your name? And I told him my name. And he said, what are you doing here? He said, did somebody tell you come down here? I said, the neighbor called, told me my mama was down here. I'm down here to see what's going on. He asked me what my name was. I told him. I sat up front, y'all, for about another 40 minutes until he came back up front. And he told me, he said, you can stand up and come to the back. When I got back there behind the door, he said, how did you get here? I said, I drove here. I said, it's my car out front. He said, do you have anybody to come pick your car up? And now I'm looking at him like, why the hell I need somebody to come pick my car up? And I was like, yeah. I was like, my boyfriend. Because at the time, I think the boy had went to work. Yeah, he was working 11. His schedule was 3 p to 11 p. So I said, yeah. So he said, yeah, you may want to have them to come and get your car. I called Drew. I'm like, Drew, I'm at the police station over here in Vine City. He already knew they had my mom and them anyway. And I'm like, they saying I need somebody to come and get my car. He said, are they arresting you? I said, he didn't say that. I'm naive, y'all. This is my first rodeo. I don't know nothing about nothing. I didn't know what, I'm like, I don't know. I thought maybe it wasn't no parking. Like you couldn't park there. Y'all, I don't know. Don't judge, right? So he said, okay. By the time Drew got there to come pick my car up, before he got there, the man came back. He said, who's on the way to come and get you? And who come and get your car? I said, my boy's father, my boyfriend. He said, tell him to stop by the store and get you a roll of quarters, is what he told me. Again, y'all, everything going on my head, a roll of quarters. I don't know. I don't see my mom and them. I hear them. They know I'm there now because I can hear them in the other room, but we don't see each other. So he told me to call my boyfriend back to tell him to bring me a roll of quarters with him when he come and get my car. I called Drew back. Hey, bring a roll of quarters when you get here. Baby, let me tell you. Drew, I handed Drew off my keys. And he said, you might want to give him your belongings. It took Drew to ask them, what's going on? And he said, she's being arrested. And I said, arrested? I said, for what? He said, for aggravated assault. He said, 2 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and a party to a crime. I said, what? I said, I ain't shot nobody. That's what I said. I gave Drew the keys. Now, mind y'all, I didn't find out the details of how I really got intertwined in all of this until we went to court the second time. So let's fast forward. So I finally see my mama and Leo in the paddy wagon. in the back of the police van. When they put us all in there, is when I saw my mama and Leo. My heart break from this is my mama. This is my mama. Take me, please, and thank you. Take me. Give me 40. Don't let my mama go. Cause what we doing? So we in the van, we talking. We all trying to figure out how we get to this point. How we being charged with aggravated assault, possession of firearm and commission. How we get here is what we being. I'm gonna dim this light, y'all, because it may go out on me in a minute. Let me see if I cut it off. Hold on, y'all. Because it's gonna go off on me in a second anyway. I'm dark, but yeah, I'm still good. So, I'm still trying to figure out. I don't like that dark. Hold on, y'all. I ain't trying to be patty perfect. I just kind of want to see what I want to see the comments, and I can't see it when it's off. So, we in the car, we in the paddy wagon, we on the way to Rice Street. Full as the county. Y'all see it. Full as the county. Y'all see it. Full as the county. By the way, that's not my mug shot. I just made that up or whatever. So we on the way to Full as County. We in the back of the paddy wagon, y'all. We trying to talk to see what's going on and all of that or whatever the case may be. How we get here. We don't supposed to be here. Deborah Cox's voice. You hear me? So we get to the jail. It's everybody's first experience. Everybody's first rodeo. We don't know nothing about the quarters was to make the phone call with. So we get to the jail. Baby, a whole new world. Okay. We get down there intake. We down there for forever. Booking, processing was a drag session. You in this, anybody that been to jail know, you in this big, especially for Forest County in Atlanta. You in a big open dorm, right? And I'm sorry, not a big open dorm, but you're in a big opening. You got processing over there, a counter where you go over there, fingerprint, picture, cell, all these, 2, 3, 4 cells, men on this side, women on this side. So I guess the police must have felt a little extra special and sorry for me and my mom, my sister, because they let us stay out. Some people they was taking in, they had to go in, but they let us stay out. They gave us a salami sandwich, an orange, and a small little throw to go over us because I was shivering and shaking. And that was it. That bench was cold. It was made of steel. It was cold. It was hard. It stunk the whole 9 yards. I had to use the restroom so bad, but I didn't care. I was not going in there to use them people toilet. I didn't find, okay, so they called me up front to do my process, my fingerprints and stuff like that. They was like, when you go up there to get processed in, they will let you know if you get a bond or if you got to go see the judge. But off the muscle, they had already said we weren't going to get no bond and we had to see the judge because the charge was very serious. The aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, possession of firearm during commission of felony. You ain't getting out right then and there. So we kind of figured that we were going to have to stay the next day to see the judge. So they dress us out. Eventually, we down there for hours and hours and hours. I call home. I'm checking on the children or whatever. I think Drew took off work that day. He didn't go to work that day because, of course, all this chaos going on. He didn't go to work that day. And so I'm calling, checking on the children, whatever. I'm talking to them. Just like, okay, mama love y'all. Oh, God, that broke me. Oh, that broke me. That broke me being away from my children. Broke me. Of course, I didn't have in the car at the time. I only had the voice, but it tore me. So I'm talking to them like, hey, mama love y'all. Mama see y'all later, whatever case may be. Mama see y'all tomorrow is what I told them. Because when you down there for the first time and you got all these people asking you, what you in here for? What you in? You tell them, oh, man, yeah, you ain't got no record. You ain't got the, oh, yeah, you gonna get out. You gonna get a bond. You gonna get a signature bond. They gonna do, my hopes was so up high. And it wasn't only because of the people in there saying, oh, y'all gonna get a bond. It was the fact that I'm like, I didn't do this. I didn't do what they said that I did, So my hope to get a bond was just the fact that I was innocent for real. That's really what it was. Also too, what the people was in there saying, like, oh yeah, you good. You ain't got no criminal record. You ain't never been locked up. Boom, 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 boom. That be your biggest mistake if you ever go to jail. Listen to what the other inmates saying. Because, baby, different stroke for different folks. Do you hear me? So we get dressed out. Now, mind you, on the way up, when I got there, I had a quick weed. When they locked me up that day, I had a little quick weed. So I'm on the way up. The girl stopped me. She said, is that a sew-in or is that a quick weed? I said, nah, it's a sew-in. She said, is it a quick weed? She said, because if it's a quick weed, you're going to have to take it out. I said, no, it's a sew-in. She said, you sure? She kind of tugged on it a little bit. Not too much, but it didn't move. Back then, like I said, I was doing my hair. I knew how to, my quick weed would last for weeks. So she's like, okay, cool. Y'all, we go upstairs. We all walking through the halls and going here. So we get right there in the women's kind of pod. They noticed that me and my mama had the same last name. Without knowing if we was related or not. They just noticed we had the same last name. So they told me, and y'all, I'll never forget. It is so crazy how I remember the number, the block that I was in. That's crazy. And the room number. That's crazy. So they said, T. Sims, called by my first name, T. Sims, they said, you go to 500. And they said, G. Sims and, sister, Sagittarius sister, no. I went to 600. I'm sorry. They said, T. Sims, you going to 600. So I had to step over there to the left. My mama and Sagittarius, they put them in 5. They had to step to the right. Now, granted, I was bombed out because we were splitting up, but I was happy that my mama was with one of her daughters, right? I just didn't want my mama to be by herself. Mind you, it's all of our first rodeo, but I didn't care. At that moment, I felt like I could handle myself more than my mama. I don't know why I thought I could, but I'm like, Lord. So my mama and Sagittarius end up getting in the room together, which I was so thankful about. Now, I get in... Baby, they popped that door. Let me in. I go walking. I got pillow. I got cot. They tell me what room. The room 617. I never forget it, y'all. 617. I go in there. By the time we make it upstairs, it's like 10:30, 11 o'clock. Lights are already out for them anyway. Bedtime for them. Pop 617. They pop 617. Go in there. Whatever. Y'all, I had to get the bull dagger room. Why my roommate had to be one of them? Why? Why little old frail me? 130 pounds, 35 pounds soaking wet at the time. Why? Fresh meat. Baby, why me? Child, I got in that room. The lady was already in there asleep. So she had the bottom bunk, so top for me. Baby, before I can even put that damn cot in them that little pillowcase and all that shit they give you, before I can put that down, she told me, turn out the light. I'm thinking like, baby, I ain't get that lady no bed talk. Baby, I was Stevie Wonder, baby, sitting in the door. Baby, I cut that light right on the house. I'm not. It ain't the time to be running your mouth, Nene. It ain't the time. Shut up. You ain't got it in you. You ain't gonna win. You ain't new to this. I mean, you new to this and you ain't true to it. You're gone. Baby, I was fiddling around in the dog. You hear me? Didn't even know how I was gonna get up there to the top of the bunk because I've never been in here. I've never been nothing. So how am I supposed to get up there? There's no ladder on the side of this bunk bed. How am I supposed to get up there? So y'all, I'm standing there like a fool in the middle of the floor. She already done yelled at me talking about cut off the light. She ticked off because she got a roommate, which I don't blame her because ain't no telling how long she even been in there by herself. And here I come. And I'm scared to ask her how I get up there. So I'm just standing there acting like I'm on. Y'all acting like I'm taking the sheet out the thing. Man, I was pulling that sheet by too many y'all. Like, because again, she was like, you need help getting up there? I was like, yeah. She was like, well, you can't climb on my bed because usually you can climb, you can put your feet at the bottom and then kind of jump up there and whatever. She like, well, you can't climb on my bed, but you can, she like, use the toilet. She like, put one leg on the toilet and then the other leg on the drop. And so, baby, she done made a whole makeshift route for me to get up there. When really it was easier to use her bottom bunk to climb, but whatever. But I did what that lady said, y'all, because again. Okay. So I get in the bed. Now, mind you, I couldn't sleep. I'm up thinking. Baby, this lady snoring and farting. Snoring and farting. Snoring and farting. All night. All night. So much so to where I later found out, and I had to learn the hard way. Baby, that first night, she brought me in. Baby, I had to learn the hard way. She had some type of condition. Okay? I forget the name she told me back then. But she would get up. It could have been PTSD, but that's not what she said. But now that I'm thinking about it, it's like slight the definition of PTSD. Y'all, she would get a in the middle of the night. So imagine me laying up there straight flat, and I'm trying, I got my head turned that way because she's snoring this way, so all the sound is coming from the bottom up the way. So I'm straight like a mummy, And then, you know, imagine you sleep and somebody, baby, who in here with us? Who in here with us? Get out! What's going on?
She's a fool.
Y'all ain't
Not
got-
who in here with us.
See, y'all be want to laugh. I don't have time. I thought I was gonna be unalive. Y'all coming to laugh. So, man. So I learned fast with her, right? Next day, that morning, they wake us up. They get up. Head count. Yeah, it's like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. I probably ain't had about an hour or two of sleep because it took me a while to even go to sleep. So now y'all, again, first rodeo. And she wasn't no help. My roommate wasn't no help in the beginning. She eventually came to like me, but in the beginning, she was very mean to me, for real. But I didn't know, like, when they say head count, you get up, you get out the bed, you go out the door, and you line up against the wall. I just knew to get up. I just knew to wake up. And I guess at least sit up. She gets out the bed and limp and wobble her ass out the door and then say like roomie or whatever she wanted to call me. Like, you gotta come out. So when the officers came around, I was still in there like, what you doing? They were like, you know, and then also too, you supposed to get up and your bed have to be made up. I didn't know that either. So she done made her bed up. Her stuff in order. I'm not. So the lady yelling at me like, why you still in the bed? Your bed ain't made up. And then they started getting on her too though. I guess they realized, like, I think they looked at the paperwork and the log or whatever. And I don't know, you seen it. I had just got in there, and they started getting on her like, you supposed to tell her, like, you should tell her. They were like, because it's gonna fall back on you. Yeah, this y'all room together type of thing. So then that's when she tried to coach me and school me after the head count was over with. Yeah, for here on out, when you hear that, you got to get up. Your bed need to be made up within X amount of time and stand in the front. I don't have that type of attention on my room. I don't do that over here. I got a good rapport. I'm cool with all the guards. Everybody else with me, they like me, giving them the whole rundown as if I'm finna be here for forever. I don't care who you cool with. I don't care who rock with you. I don't even know why you in here, but I know I'm in here for something I didn't do, and I plan on getting out of here. So screw you and them is what I wanted to tell her. But here I go. Okay. Because whatever, y'all. So all of that, right? And she did all that only to ask me for my breakfast. You gonna eat your breakfast? It's a boiled egg and some cornflakes. No, I don't want this. Well, you can leave it right there on the girl. Have it, whatever. So morning come. That's our second head count because we did breakfast. Oh no, we didn't do head count 2 times. Oh, we do it 5 o'clock breakfast. They let us out to shower at about 7 or 8, and from there it's like free time. So I'm just, as soon as they say out free time, baby, listen, I'm trying to make calls at home because I'm trying to see what's going on because we go to court. No, that's a lie, y'all. I'm mixing this up with another day in time. When they let us out, they did let us out, but I didn't move. I don't think I got on the phone. They called my name to go to court, which is what I did. I went to court downstairs. So we went to the court inside of the jail. Me, my mama, and Lee, and Sagittarius. Okay, we went before the judge. Now, my mama had a lawyer present there that day. My stepdaddy reached out to a family attorney. Now, this attorney was already in the family because she was helping another family member try to get custody of their children. So she was already in the family. So when this happened with us, my stepdaddy reached out. Boom. Now, she tried to come down on the behalf of all of us. But what we found out was because we were co-defendants, she could not represent all of us. She couldn't represent all of us. So she had to choose one. She chose my mama, which I'm glad she did. I wasn't tripping. Good for her, right? So she came the first day of court. You know how they give you the little preliminary, hearing and to put the charges and the details out there to, go forth and move forward with an indictment. Y'all, when I tell y'all, that detective threw that case to get his case together so much so where the judge was so frustrated. She said, I'm gonna reset this until 2 weeks. She put the date out there. Y'all, when I heard them 2 weeks, my heart dropped.
Yeah.
Cause I was like, it's no way I'm gonna survive in here 2 weeks.
And to be fair, it's not fair that they had to stay 2 weeks because the officer's case was thrown together. That's his job. He has to show the burden of proof. Well, the prosecutor does really, but I mean they're part of the same team. So if it's all discombobulated, then that shouldn't mean that they have to stay in there, especially considering that they didn't do the crime. Now, I know it's probably hard for the courts to decipher who's actually innocent versus who's not, and they can't just be letting all these criminals out in the street because the cops dropped the ball. But at the same time, like on the other side of it, I would feel a way if I'm the victim and you're doing a sloppy ass job as a cop. Like, what are you doing with your life? This is what you do. And if you can't do it, skedaddle, kick rocks, let someone else do it. Like, whew. But yeah.
It's no way. Like, it's legit no way I'ma make it for 2 weeks. But it was so confusing and conflicting. The lady was like, I gotta sort this out. I need a little bit more time. No bond. When I heard no bond, my heart fell to the bottom of my feet. I remember fighting back my tears in that courtroom. Cause I was like, don't cry, Nene. I kept telling myself, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. Cause 2 weeks. Sure enough, we get back upstairs after court. I hear it was the door. So the doors separate each dorm. Again, I'm in 600, my mom and them in 500. So I hear somebody say, mind you, y'all, within 24 hours of me being there, baby, them people hadn't gave me a nickname. Baby, them people's in there calling me Pumpkin. Pumpkin. Okay? Pumpkin. I didn't argue with them. It was what it was. So I hear, I'm at the top, sitting at the top of the steps. I didn't go to the bottom because I'm just in there pondering. I'm like, how did I get here for real? So I hear, hey, your name Nene? And I was like, yeah. They were like, telephone. Look around, I'm like, telephone? I know that. How? You can call in here? I know you can call out, but you can call in. And they were like, yeah, telephone. And I was like, telephone? They were like, yeah, come to the door. So it was my sister. So she was like, sister. I was like, hey, sister. She was like, Mama said you good? I was like, yeah, I'm good. And she was like, mind y'all, by now it's lunchtime. So they done passed out lunch and everything or whatever. And she was like, okay. She was like, you ate? I was like, I got my tray, but I ain't ate yet. She was like, okay. She was like, sister. I was like, yeah. It's just like our sister's intuition had kicked in. I was like, yeah. She was like, I want to go home. Like, she broke. And I broke. I was like, me too. Like, we went through the door just crying, a crack this and smile. I could only hear her. I couldn't see her. So you had to put your mouth up dang near to the door, and talk like this. And we just crying, oh my God, me too. I was like, sister, look what they feeding us. She was like, listen. Boo in the cry. I said, what mama is? She was like, she right here. So my mama comes to the door. She was like, baby. She was like, mama love you. I was like, I love you too, mom. She was like, be strong, okay? I was like, okay. She was like, stay to yourself, okay? I was like, okay. She was like, mama gonna get us out of here, okay? I'm getting teary-eyed. Oh my God, it's so crazy. She was like, mama gonna get us out of here, okay? I was like, okay, mom. Like, y'all, it broke me so bad. I was like, how in the world did we get here? How? Why am I in jail? My children are at home. I ain't even do nothing. Right? So, throughout that time, I would just, my mom would, shake the door and check on you. All right, is it good? I'm good. We're good. And stuff like that. So when it was time for us to go to court, remember I told you they reset us 2 weeks. So when it was time for us to go to court, I'm stoked. That next night, I'm like, yes, man, we're finna go to court. We're gonna give us a bond. They're gonna look at our criminal history. We don't got no background, whatever. They're gonna see everything. We didn't do this, whatever. 6 o'clock come. Now, you know the court bus come early. If you go into court, they're gonna wake you up when they do your head count in 5. They're gonna take you out. You go downstairs in the holding cell. You sit to about 6 or 7, and then they take everybody to court for 9 o'clock. My name didn't get called. I didn't get called. So when they let us out after breakfast, after the day count, I go over there, I shake the door. I like, hey, can you tell Sagittarius comes to the door? She comes to the door. I was like, sister, you didn't go to court either? She was like, no. She like, they didn't call me or mama name. I was like, they didn't call my name either. I was like, when the officer get in here, I'm gonna ask the officer like, why our name didn't get called. And them officers, I ain't gonna hold y'all. They was some nasty. They had the worst attitudes ever. When I tell you, y'all, they were them girls that you could tell they had got them little jaws, and they used to think they were all there. You know, they used to come in their hair slanging tight, the khaki pants, and they're doing too much. They used to be in there touching people. Like, I remember one on, I forgot her name, but she was the one everybody was cool with. And she was like, I remember she got into one of the inmates. She was like, oh, you can do all that shit, like, but I don't care. She like, get what? At the end of the day, get what? I'm going home. Guess where you gonna be at? Still in here. She like, baby, I'm going to the central station this weekend. She was like, so it is what it is. You can keep that attitude. She like, I don't like. She was one of them ones. So when they came around, so they would check our bands every time they do head count check. That you had to see your band. You know, they had to check your band, make sure you was who you was. And then I was like, Kim, can I ask you something? I was like, I was supposed to go to court this morning. I was like, but they didn't call my name. I was just trying to make sure, like, what was the, what happened. She was like, I'll get back with you. It wasn't the nicest. So, and sure enough, she did. She took like an hour, but she did get back. She came back. She said, it's not unusual for them to not physically take you to court. She was like, the judge can still hear your case while you're still at the jail. She was like, and I just looked in the system and it's no bond. I said, yeah, I know. We didn't have no bond when we went to court the first time. She said, no, I'm telling you, they no bonded y'all again. I was like, huh? So I'm like, I said, so what that means? She was like, you got a new court date for said day. I was like, yo, another 2 weeks? I'm like, I'm finna fucking lose it. It's like I can't survive in here another 2 weeks. Like, I'm not gonna make it. So I go down there, I shake the door. My mama comes to the door. Jones, I just said my sister's name. Sagittarius, she comes to the door, and I was like, sister, I just talked to one of the officers. They said that they put we ain't got no bond again. We go back to court on this day. So she started back kind of crying. I was just trying to be strong and stuff like that. So I called home. I talked to the boy dad. I'm like, look. Now he was like, yeah. He was like, baby, we trying to get y'all home. He was like, we got to try to find y'all a different lawyer. He said, the lawyer, she can't represent all y'all, which we had found that out the first time, so we knew that. But we didn't have no money to get everybody their own lawyer. That ain't gonna hold y'all. When no money flowing like that, I would work. My little checks every 2 weeks were probably like $600 something back then. So it wasn't, And he worked the job, but we just didn't have the money to get all this no lawyer. So I remember telling him, I said, let me talk to Noonie. Noonie was a better talker than Dre at the time. Because Dre, like I said, Dre was 3. So he could talk, but not as good as Noonie. So I remember Noonie getting on the phone. And I was like, hey, Noonie. And he was like, hey, mama. I like, what you doing? He like, nothing. He was like, he said, I just ate. I said, what you eat? He said, chicken. He said, chicken. He said, chicken. I said, okay. I said, mama, miss you. He like, miss you too. And I was like, mama, love you. And he was like, I love you too. And then I said, he said, mama. I said, what, Noonie? He said, you coming home tomorrow? Broke. When that baby asked me, was I coming home tomorrow? And them people had just told me that we broke. I remember telling him, I think I said, Mama not gonna be home tomorrow. I said, but if you count, I said, if you start, I said, tell your dad to write down 14 days. I said, and start at 14. I said, when you get to 1, I'll be home, is what he said. I don't know what I told him. He said, when I get to 1, I said, yeah, when you get to 1, I'll be home. I said, what your brother doing? He said, him right here. I said, what he doing? He said, he got his fingers in his mouth, because when Dre was younger, he took these 2 fingers right here. So he said he got his fingers in his mouth. I said, tell him to take them fingers out of his mouth. And then like, Mama said, take them fingers out your mouth. So but the whole time I'm covering up. Every time I tell Nuna to say something, I cover up the phone because I'm just crying. I'm breaking. And then people started coming that was inside jail. They started rubbing my shoulder. They like, because they knew I was talking. Most of the time when people got on the phone and got emotional, they knew that they was talking to their children. So they knew that I was talking to my children. So they came and started rubbing like, Punky, gonna be okay. So I said, okay, I love y'all. I said, I'll talk to y'all later. So I told the boy dad, I said, I'm gonna go ahead on and make a visitation list. I said, but I'm not gonna put the children on there. I said, don't bring my children down here. But I told him, I said, definitely make sure he come. And he said, okay. And y'all, it was just then, like, I just kind of came to grips with, like, you in here. You know what I'm saying? Like, you in here, and it just, like, you got to just make, I ain't going to say the best out of it, because nobody can really never make the best out of being in jail, especially when you in there for something you didn't do, but I just had to kind of live with it and deal with it. So, like, the next day, now, this is the day that we were supposed to go to court, that we didn't go to court. The next day, we went to Rec, which is the gym, like it's right across the dorm. That's when all the dorms come out, go into the little basketball, whatever. So they would have church in there and everything. So this particular Sunday is when I got to see my mama and sister. That's the only time I got to see them, is when we went to church. So we all would make it our business to go to church so we could see each other. Well, I seen my mama and my sister in church on that Sunday. We was talking and stuff. We was praying, holding hands, just telling each other like, y'all, we gonna get out of this. Like, God, no, we didn't do this. We gonna get out of it. We gonna go home, whatever. Then Monday came. We, ate. Like, dinner, lunchtime came or whatever. That's normally about 5 o'clock or something like that. And I never forget, they were like, Pumpkin, telephone. Again, that means, my mama or my sister at the door. And I went to the door, and John was like, sister. She said, I know, cause John said, sister, mama finna go home. I said, huh? She said, they just called mama name to pack it up. I said, you for real? I ain't gonna lie, first, for a split second, I was like, what about us? But she was like, yeah. So like, they just called mama name to pack it up. And I just remember screaming like, yeah. And so people that was in the door, they were like, what happened? Like, what? And I was like, my mama finna go home. I didn't even care about me. Get my mama out of here. Cause them kids at home, the men trying to still work and handle stuff, get lawyers, pay bill, you got to get my mama that's the pillar. That's the anchor of the family. Get her home. She shouldn't even be in here anyway. None of us should, but definitely my mama should. So I'm celebrating like, yeah, I'm going home. And so I was so happy. And I never forget, I was sitting on top of them steps. And they walked her out. And, you could see through the windows and stuff like that. And she stopped. She had the pillow and all the stuff, that they give you when you first get there. She turned around. She looked. She said, and I was like, bye, mama. She was like, love you too, mama. She was like, so I'm gonna call you. I was like, just go on, like, get my babies. Like, I was crying, but I was so happy because I was just like, thank God my mama is out of here. Like, when I see her back walk out that place going down that highway, was just like, I didn't, like I said, y'all, I didn't care. I didn't want to, I wanted to go home too, but get her out. So what happened was, remember I told y'all the family lawyer, y'all got me on here. Y'all don't supposed to be. Y'all can't have me on here doing this. This is not what this was for. So what happened was the family lawyer was able to, remember I told y'all they denied our bond when we were supposed to go to court, denied whatever. Not the first time. They didn't. So we got denied bond twice. The day after we got in there was, the in-house. And then 2 weeks later, we never made it out of the jail. We got denied then. Well, the lawyer that my mama had, she was able to go back to the court and kind of like, I guess, explain. She pulled some strings basically and was just like, hey, look, this is the situation. This is the active shooter that y'all looking for, right? I forgot, I can't say some words, my bad. This is the assailant that y'all looking for. But this assailant is not in custody. These are the 3 individuals in custody. This is the mother. They have small children now. This is important. That this is her criminal history. So the judge granted my mama bond the next day after they denied it. They granted my mama bond. So that's how she was able to come home. So thank God for that. So my mama only technically did 2 weeks, or did my mama do like 10 days? She might didn't do the whole 14. In between 10 to 14, but yeah, that's enough too. Yeah, 2 hours is enough. But anyway, so my mama did from like 10 to 14 days. Okay, so me and Sagittarius in there, we just thugging it out at this point. So I get a pretrial lawyer, public defender. He come and see me. And I don't know nothing about nothing. He asking me about the case and everything like that and stuff. And this is what this man looked at me and told me, y'all. And I know y'all might, some of y'all in this comment, y'all, I rock with all y'all. I love y'all. But I know some of y'all probably gonna be like, Nene, you could have helped yourself. You could have got out of there. You say you somebody you miss your children so bad. You do. Why you didn't get out of there? Some of y'all gonna be like, Lord said before anything, right? So when that man came to see me, he said, once I told him what happened, everything that took place that day, he said, and he was reading the police report and the warrant affidavit. That's when I found out that they didn't have, remember I told y'all I rolled down there to the police station. They never had a warrant on me. I found out that when, you remember I told y'all he had me up front for like 45 minutes to an hour sitting just before anything. He called down there and got a warrant on me. Because when I got there, he asked me what my name was. He didn't even know who I was. And he asked me, how did I know my sister and mom was down there? And I said that, I told him, I said, the neighbors called me. So that's when he went and did all of that. You know what I'm saying? So, and again, but now that I'm talking to the lawyer, he telling me, he breaking everything down now. Like, yeah, do, and I'm like, dang, that's, So the lawyer said, listen, let me tell you something. He said, this is the situation. He said, reading the report, he said, in reading the witnesses' statements, he said, you don't fit the description of the assailant. He said, you don't. He said, so I'm almost certain it's not you. He said, and for what you just told me, he said, it sounds to be your older sister. He said, which is who they want. He told me, he said, if you tell me a location where they can go and get her at, I can promise you, I can have you a bond within the next couple of days. He said, they want her. He said, they know y'all are not the assailants. He said, they know this. He said, but they want her. I sat down and I just sat there. And I remember contemplating just for a hot second, like, should I? What I got about? I ain't got nothing in my nose. It might look like that, the glare from the light, but thank y'all. But he said, that's who they want. And I remember sitting there like, damn, should I? Like, contemplating for a second. And then I said, I don't know where she at. Which, I really didn't. Like, I legit didn't, like, know, like, a specific address. I knew the location, but, I I didn't know the address where she was, so I told him, I said, I don't know where she at. And he said, well, that's who they want. And he said, they're probably gonna try to hold y'all in here until they get her. Y'all, in my head, I was like, well, I don't know. So after I got out of the visitation with him, I went over there, shook the door. Sagittarius came to the door. I told Sagittarius everything he said. I said, sister, they want Leo. That's who they want. They want Leo. I said, so they said head count, and it was trade time. So I said, sister, we'll talk after, after they do the head count and then they do dinner. They did head count, they did dinner. Right before I could even, and I started eating towards the end. In the beginning, I ain't gonna lie, I didn't eat. So after we get the trays and stuff like that, Sagittarius come back to the door, shake the door. I go back over there. I'm feeling, I'm thinking she want to resume off the conversation that we were having prior to, we having to stop when they were coming in. Sagittarius said, sister. I said, I heard in her voice, y'all. I heard in her voice. I said, yeah. She said, you see what they feeding us? And I think, y'all, it might have been like some type of meat and I don't know. It been so long ago, but it was a mess. I said, yeah. She said, I don't want to eat this. I said, me? She said, sister. I said, yeah. She said, I want to go home. I said, me too. She said, sister, I'm about to tell her how. Listen, Sagittarius had her slip broke, y'all. Sagittarius said, I'm about to tell. And I ain't gonna hold y'all. I would did here close with Sagittarius too, because at that point, when I got that tray, and everything just kept coming back to me, I was like, man, I'm in here and I didn't do this. I ain't never had held a weapon like that in my life before. Never had fired off one. What are y'all talking about? I didn't do this. Where R. Kelly say, I'm fighting for my mother. I didn't do this. I didn't do it. So, again, when Sagittarius was like, sister, I'm about to tell, I'm kind of maybe like on the same page with her, like, yeah, because this is crazy, right? So, boom. We go head on and we get, so we wipe out. Sister, I love you. I'll talk to you later. So I call home and I'm talking to Drew, talking to the boy dad, and I'm like, look, this is what me and Sagittarius thinking about. Cause I'm like, he was like, nah, man, y'all can't do that. Do. Which we wasn't, I don't think me or Sagittarius was truly, genuinely, really gonna do it. But man, the conversation was worth having. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. It was worth having because goodness gracious. So now let me pause y'all right there just briefly. I gotta take y'all back to a few months before I got locked up. And it's important because this story gonna the end of the jail story is gonna have such a powerful meaning when I tell y'all this part, and then whatever it is, and it's one of those testaments to when they say everything happened for a reason. That is, I didn't see it then, but right. So I'm gonna pause out there with me and Sagittarius contemplating telling on Leo, right? Okay. So a couple months before I get locked up, again, remember I told y'all I work. So I was working at Bell's AT&T. I got a 7A to 3P job. I'm hanging out on Tuesday, $2 Tuesday, Thursday, fun Friday, Saturday in the city, whatever, right? I'm young, The boys daddy worked that night. So and my mom was that type of mama. It wasn't no where you going, you better get these children. It was like, just make sure they done ate and they bathed and in the bed before you leave out the door. It was one of those. So I had been hanging out a lot around this time, partying on a Saturday. Again, I was booking on Tuesday, going on Tuesday, knowing I got to be to work on a weekday. So and shouts out to these cousins that I'm about to mention. I don't know if they on the live, but shouts out to them. We are in a great space now, but I can talk about then. And the person who I'm about to mention, she may be on this live too, because I follow her we follow each other on TikTok. But shouts out to her too. She'll know who she is. So my cousins, who are my cousins on my dad's side, who I knew was cousins when we were little, but probably hadn't seen each other since about 5 or 6 years old. So we got back acquainted in high school. One day I'm in the lunchroom, the cousins say, your name, your real name, to whatever. I don't care to say my real name. Google me, look me up, whatever. If it come up, it do it don't. But they knew me by Nene, but she like, your real name so-and-so. Like, yeah, she was like, you got a sister named Leo and a sister named Sagittarius. And I was like, yeah, she like, your grandma named me, so-and-so. I was like, yeah, she like, we cousins. I was like, you for real? She like, yeah, she like, you don't remember me? She like, I remember you. She like, I told my mama that you went here. She like, and my mama like, yeah, that's Nene, that's so-and-so, that Red's daughter, that's so-and-so, so-and-so. She was like, I said, who's your mama? And she was like, my mama named so-and-so. I was like, that's my cousin. She like, I'm telling you, that's my mama. I remember her mama, but I didn't remember her. Like I said, we were little children, hadn't seen each other in probably 12, 13 years had went by. Longer than that, actually. Well, no, I ran into them in high school. So probably about 12 years had went by. And so she was like, yeah, I said, what's your grandma name? She was like, my grandma name, I said, man, it's like my favorite. So again, we, on my dad's side, is a massive, massive, massive family. Like, it's one of those you really will be going with your cousin and don't know it. That's how big it is on my dad's side of the family. I'm not gonna hold y'all. So I'm gonna post story time on my page. So boom, go find out that they my cousins and we instantly link up, right? Okay, we hanging out through school. We keep a good relationship. We, like I said, leave school, we still cool. Well, we started hanging out at this club called American Legion on Simpson. Now, I got my own friends. I always had my own group of friends. And I would see my cousin them there on Saturdays and Fridays and whatever other days that we would go. I would see them there. And hear me, y'all. And so one of my cousins was talking to this guy. I didn't know this. I got a man. Remember, I told y'all, I'm with me and the boys there together. Been together since high school at this time. So I'm not pressed about it. But this particular guy would buy me drinks every time I come. Like he would send them subliminally. He would literally get the waitress to bring them over there. And she'll be like, these came from so-and-so, so-and-so. So I knew he liked me, but he never approached me, at least not in the beginning. He never approached me. He would just send me drinks. Well, one day we leaving out of the club and he approached me. And he told me his name and he made him be known that he was the one that sent the drinks and whatever. We might have exchanged numbers, y'all, but don't hold me to that part. It's been so long ago. I don't know if I gave him my number. But he did make himself known. Well, that very next day, I get a call from one of them cousins saying, hey, don't talk to so-and-so. We go together, or we messing around or something. I guess she must have seen me talking to him outside of the club. Respectfully, my cousin just called me and told me don't talk to him because she do cool, say no more. I wasn't going to do it anyway. He wasn't my type, but nevertheless, cool, say no more. That what it was. Fast forward, we still going out. Now, she done gave me the stay away and whatever in the call back, but I guess she must didn't tell him because he's still sending drinks. Now he done start making his way over there to where we at, standing by us, and him and his homeboys or whatever. It's a lot going on. So instead of my cousin, I feel like at the time, seeing it for what it was, that you need to kind of check him and get on. You start taking it out on me and start feeling some type of way about me. So much so to where, we had me and my cousin had a mutual friend. This mutual friend I grew up with when we were young. We stayed in the same apartments. And then they were still actively friends with her at the time. So I was like that long lost friend, and they was like the right now friend. Well, she was kind of like in the middle of it all. So she got my number one day. She calling me, telling me what the cousin saying. Oh, you trifling, you did. She told you that was her man. You steady talking to him. I'm like, I don't talk to that boy. And again, we were young. I could have definitely, with that being my cousin, I could have definitely reached out to her and said, I could have cleared the ball, but I did let a common denominator get in my head and just really turn me against my cousin. I will be honest and tell y'all that. I did. So my friends and stuff at the time, they was on whatever I was on. And so my cousin, so now we feuding. Now I'm feuding with my cousins over a guy that I ain't even talking to, but it got that fit. So we would go out on the weekend. We'll meet up. They'll be on one side of the dance floor. We'll be on the other side. We'll get in the floor bumping, elbowing each other. It got that bad, y'all. Like really, blood cousins. Grandma, my grandma, her grandma are sisters. But it got that bad. Bowing each other, you know, petty, real petty. So one day, all hell breaks loose. Okay. One day, all hell breaks loose. So one of my good friends get into it with my cousin friend, right? So you remember I told y'all this common denominator that was in it all, or whatever the case may be. It was like two of them. So we leaving outside, we leaving out the club. We in the parking lot arguing, going back and forth, whatever. Literally out there arguing with my cousin. Literally out there about to fight my cousin. My friend who was with me at the time, she punched one of my cousins in the face. Like it was a crowd, everybody hand in the face. My friend, she was tall. She's still living, so she's tall. She reached over the crowd, soccer. It goes down here from there, right? So now we got a real ongoing beef with my cousin, because my friend done swung on my cousin. So my grandma and them calling, Nene, what's going on? They said, y'all fine, y'all need to stop that stuff, y'all cousins. I'm like, grandma, it's not me. She mad at me about a guy that I'm not even talking to. I told her I was talking. It's a few. So, like maybe 2 weeks before we get locked up, we go back to this same club. And that friend that I told y'all that swung on my cousin, she swings on this other girl, that my cousin friend. She swings on her. They get the fight. Now my friend, she popped my cousin, and then security kind of came and broke it up and dispersed it. But that week or so later, when all hell broke loose for the second time, my friend, she really they were brawling. It got bad. So I'm in that. So keep that in mind. My friend and my cousin friend gets into a real bad, nasty brawl.
Damn. I don't know. It's one of those things where, do you stay loyal to your family or to your friends? Mind you, there clearly was beef because the cousin thought that she was talking to the dude she was talking to or whatever. And again, ladies, we got to do better. Like, stop going after the other ladies versus going after the man. Now, if she was still actively trying to holler at him and stuff like that, yeah, you kind of hold her foot to the fire, because not only are you a female, but you my cousin. But from what Nene's saying, she ain't do that. Like, she was good. She said honor over everything. My cousin said, chill, back up. It wasn't even that type of party, but say less. And she did that. So it just sucks when family gets into disputes, but I'm also one who believe, listen, sometimes family be the worst one. So you can't always go like, oh, well, that's blood, so I gotta stick with this person. I think it depends. It depends on the person. It depends on the situation. But I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine being in an all-out brawl with my cousins, and not even being on the side of my cousins. Like, it's me and my friends versus my cousin and their friends. Like, that's insane. Insane. Now, mind you, I got cousins I don't talk to. I got cousins I done fell out with or whatever. But all out brawling, and that friend she got, that's out of both fights, popping people. Lord, that a whole mess. But we gonna cut this one, and then we gonna come back and let her finish telling the story. I'm gonna try to push them all through back to back to back. Might throw some other videos in between, because they might be shorter videos, but I'm gonna get the rest of these out to you. If you are enjoying this content, please make sure to subscribe to this channel. Make sure, at least, even if you don't subscribe, that your thumbs are lit. Hit that like button for me. Subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell. And I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.
Listen, I like chocolate girl, all shades, different flavors. She a diamond in a pearl. She a goddess with a mentor, yeah. Cinnamon swirl. She relate to what I've been through, yeah. Queen of my world.